Good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the Rightside of Campus podcast, and we are live here on a Monday, May 7th, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus, here with my co-host, Donnie Rightside. Donnie, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good today. Somebody apparently retweeted the show for Tuesday tomorrow, Jeff. So I'm hanging out in an empty chat box right now with another couple people waiting. So if you're in that chat box right now and nothing is popping up whatsoever in there, folks, you are in the wrong one, just like I am. But hey, it's a Monday morning. It's what Monday morning is supposed to. Sometimes you wake up, Jeff, not everything goes according to plan.
Sure, we'll have a ton of listeners today, thanks due to that. Good work. Uh, Whoever did that. But we're here. We're live. Hopefully, everyone enjoys the show. We are sponsored by Intertops. Make sure you're checking out Intertops. If you're looking for a new book, a great book, great sleek interface, good payouts, good lines, good bonuses as well. Make sure you check it out. Intertops, one of the best books in the business. One of the books that I've used and enjoy. Really like it. Easy to use, fun, like it a lot. Make sure you're checking out Intertops today. Donnie, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Hey, man, got some decent weather up here, just kicking back, watching some sports. Had a good first week of baseball betting. But yesterday just took some time, hit the grill, which I do a lot in the summertime and also in the winter. I'm a big fan, steaks, burgers, chicken, whatever you can throw on the grill can certainly help out. My weekend was good, man. How about yours?
Pretty good, pretty good. It was kind of wet yesterday, rainy, so didn't do a ton yesterday, but yeah, no, typical weekend. One step closer to summer. We'll be there before we know it. Welcome to everyone out there listening. Hit the like button, share the show on YouTube if you have or Twitter if you have the ability. Retweet it, do that kind of thing, and take care of that for us if you can. Donnie, let's get into the show. Justify wins Kentucky Derby. I believe he was around 3-1. Not great, but again, he looks like the best horse. Looks like a horse that will maybe challenge to win the Triple Crown. I don't know much about horse racing, but Justify looked pretty good doing it. I don't think he'd ever ran in a muddy track before. Looked very good. Was an easy winner for the people that took Justify.
Yeah, sat back and saw that, and also saw, I think, heading into the Preakness now, somebody dropped his odds from like a 3-1 down to almost like a 1.5-1 at this point, which is fun because horse racing, most people don't watch horse racing throughout the year. The Kentucky Derby is usually a spectacle. You might tune in there, you see who the winner is going to be. And I always like the Preakness because you still have the hopes every single year of a Triple Crown winner, unless, the horse wins the Kentucky Derby and gets injured, or they don't think it's very good to run in the Preakness, then they just run him in the Belmont. But he should be there for the Preakness, and again, be the favorite. Should be a good time. I did go to the Preakness once in the mid-'90s. My stepfather took me along. It was a great time there. Had a lot of fun and a ton of people in bright and shiny Baltimore, Jeff.
Pimlico, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there myself. It's a nice race track in a bad area,
Yeah.
Pimlico. But yes, they'll continue there, and then they'll go to the Belmont Stakes. What do we got here? Do I start Tommy Pham or Scott Shebler? We'll get to that. Ask that a little bit later. Justified due for regression. I know. Everybody's due for regression when
Nice
they
one.
do
That's a good one. I like that. There you
uh,
go. Now we're hitting on all. People get the concept of the show now, Jeff.
What's up, Brad Bourquan, Scott, Skooma Scott, Steve Marin, Joe Yurkovich, Michael Coleman, Bruce Chad checking in. Bruce Chad eating that terrible Domino's pizza I see still.
Ooh.
We got to get Bruce Chad some real pizza. You got to come down and get some Lorenzo's or something, Bruce Chad. You're killing me with that Domino's.
Domino's is the worst
Mafias.
of all the chains, of every chain, Jeff. Like, I'd rather have Pizza Hut. I would rather have Papa John's. Anyone like Domino's is straight. It doesn't even. I'd rather eat like cardboard has better flavoring than a Domino's pizza.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Mayfie is a legend. All right, go on. I don't know what that
Maffei,
is.
Jeff. Come on, get it right. Maffei. It's Maffei.
I don't know what that is, but hey, good for him, whoever that is. Who is that, Donnie?
The guy from Billions.
We're still watching that. That show blows.
Fantastic. That show on
Um,
TV. Moving right up there. Literally right now, Jeff, this season, challenging for The Wire is #2 on my list of all time cable paid shows.
Stupidest comment ever made. What's up, right side? Driving into work. Good stuff, Goose. Drive safe.
Goosey?
What's up, Nick Nick Newell, welcome in. Everyone out there, welcome. Gary Long, Michael, Jack, Dan Kelly, what's up? Let's get into the show. We're actually into the show. I'm being sidetracked by billions. Um, this guy, Donnie, what a legend this guy is. Well, not really a legend. I don't really know how much of a legend he is, but it's still kind of interesting to think about. This guy, Don Gorske, okay? Don Gorske, no one knows who Don Gorske is, but when I tell you who he is, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that nut job. Don Gorske is from Wisconsin, Donnie, and over the weekend, he has completed a challenge that not many of us will ever complete. However, I'm sure many of us do enjoy this feud. I don't, but some do. He ate his 30,000th Big Mac, Donnie. Okay, now keep this in mind. This is what this guy does. He buys 6 Big Macs on Monday, saran wraps them, and either eats them cold or microwaves
Wait,
them.
hold on. Yeah, I didn't.
Tuesday
No,
or
hold on. Repeat that again. Repeat that again, because I didn't read the full story on this. What does he do?
He goes to McDonald's on Monday and buys
Yep.
6 of them. He saran wraps them and eats
Oh
them
my.
cold or microwaves them Tuesday or
Oh, I'm gonna
Wednesday.
throw up. I think I'm gonna throw up right now. Oh
Then
my
on
God.
Thursday, he buys 8 and wraps them up to reheat throughout the week until he's back
I'm gonna throw
Monday.
up. This is making me throw
Yeah,
up.
very disgusting. And I want to shout out, you know, the people that did this work. I wrote it down. It's quite interesting. Over his lifetime, so if you consider Big Mac has 563 calories, he's ate 16,890,000 calories in his lifetime just off Big Mac.
Jeff, now,
Donnie,
now here, like if we yeah, and now let's bring this into the Twitter sphere, right? 30,000 Big Macs. Bullshit. Where's your receipts at? Where is this documented? Where are all the pictures of 30,000 of you eating there? I don't believe you for 1 second. You don't even have any people following you around. That's Twitter. That's what you know what? That's me right now with this guy. 30,000. I don't believe you. Who tracked it?
but
What did he
let's
just make something up? Like there's people on Twitter saying,
who
just
would
come out
make
of
that
nowhere.
up though?
I won 20 straight Super Bowls. I'm going to make it number 21, but you just got on Twitter like last week.
Who would make that up though? That's kind of a ridiculous thing to make up. Plus, he has been documented by. I think he was on Super Size Me, if I can remember correctly. And Johnny, you got to think about that. That's 720 Big Macs a year. I mean that's a
Yeah, but
lot of
see, like
food.
I almost wouldn't even, Jeff. I almost wouldn't even mind, like if he was like, you know what? I live across from the McDonald's. I'm a single guy, and I just love Big Mac. So I'll come in like as soon as like the grill flips over at 11 o'clock. I'll have one then. I'll come over for an afternoon snack because I work from home at like 3 or 4, and then late night I'll grab another one there. The thing that makes this vile, Jeff, is the fact that he's like it's hard enough to understand like you can eat it like Big Mac, you just get it, it tastes good, right? You know what I mean? It just came off the grill, it's hot, you're eating it now. The fact that you let that sit around and just, because the roll isn't fresh anymore, the meat's not going to be fresh, the lettuce, whatever is not going to be fresh on there, that is really making my stomach bubble, man.
No, me myself. I mean, look, I'm a bigger guy. Everyone knows that. But listen, I haven't eaten McDonald's in years. The thought of it makes me sick. The smell of it makes me physically sick. Like, I don't know how you could, you know. Again, I don't eat the greatest, but I try to eat like at least if I eat bad, I eat at least it's like high level food. It's like this is just complete trash food, man. Like, and the fact that you freeze it, like you put it in, like I, I, I don't know. I can't even think about that. Just absolutely
Oh.
vile. But hey, Don Gorske, congratulations. Some useless.
You see, they had a nice
He,
setup for him, Jeff. It looked like too, like the gold plate. They probably brought out the 30,000th one. He had a nice meal. Looked like it had like the McDonald's tie on there that said like the Big Mac theme song on there. So he was ready to go, man. Life complete for that guy.
and
But he said, Jeff, also like he cautioned like a little bit of caution out there. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this again because the next time like 2032, probably cholesterol will be a little bit too high for him, Jeff, to
But
make
you
it
know
that
what the
long.
shame thing about it is, Donnie? Like, what has he got out of it? Like, do you think he actually went to that McDonald's and got a free Big Mac? No, it was like, hey, that's still $6 here. Pay us for that. He doesn't get anything out of it. He hasn't got like Big Mac for life or anything? Like, what have
Yeah,
you
I mean,
got now?
you know what, they probably will because just the, like, you know how if this was like if Darren Ravel from ESPN got involved in this, Jeff, that picture that surrounded him on Twitter was probably worth like $452,000 and 32 cents in advertising for free to McDonald's. They probably will give him a little one of those cards, Jeff, like member for life, like wherever you go, no matter where you're at, use this card and you get a free Big Mac. That's probably what they'll turn this into.
He should cut back to quarter pounders. Maybe. McDonald's is pure greasy garbage. So gross. Agreed. Uh, I had a bacon Angus, large fries, and 6 McNuggets last week. Yeah, listen. I mean, Donnie
Nice.
eats McDonald's.
Oh,
I mean,
Bruce. There you go.
I mean, people like McDonald's, but I don't see it. Another thing, kids love McDonald's, like little kids. Uh, you know, yeah. Do you take your kid to McDonald's, Donnie?
Loves McDonald's, yeah. Little 4 6 piece nugget you get to choose from. What do you get? The Go-Gurt, Jeff. You could choose from apple slices, a chocolate milk there. Yeah, kids love it, man. Everybody grew up
But
on
you look
McDonald's
at
back in the 80s.
and real quick, you look at like how they truly are like genius with their marketing and stuff. Look at how they adhere to kids. Like you go
Yeah.
into McDonald's, it's like everything is catered to you. There's a play area, there's little toys, there's food that you would like. It's kind of like really beginning. You teach these kids like go to McDonald's and look, some won't, some will never eat there again when they get older, but most kids will continue to eat there. It's pretty genius. Like, does any other fast food restaurant have a toy area and they give you little keepsakes as well? I mean, no. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's
did a good job marketing because, my kid growing up, I mean, she's 6 years old now. It's the first thing she says. Like, if she wants a Happy Meal, make sure this toy is
yeah,
correct and they're the one that I want. That's what they look forward to. Kids will eat anything, but if you're going to throw a toy in there in the box, then they're all about eating that meal.
yeah. Donnie, Lionel Messi's under a little fire after yesterday's Clasico match. Many believe, Donnie, on Real Madrid that Lionel Messi influenced the ref in the hallway at halftime. And look, I'll make this clear: the ref was bad in this match. Many believe that in Camp Nou, which is Barcelona's home stadium, Sergio Ramos believes that Messi put a little pressure on Hernandez in the tunnel. The ref. I don't know if there were any cameras. I don't know if in the second half he would have done things differently without that pressure. There was noticeable different calls in the second half. I noticed. Let me ask you though: if you're a ref and Lionel Messi comes up to you, who doesn't talk much, and starts bitching to you about the refereeing, you might be a little bit more, lean on the whistle when it comes to Real Madrid. Donnie, this kind of goes back though to the complaining if you're a star player. Star players just get things to happen to them that others don't. When will people understand that? It relates to LeBron James. All you hear about from
Mhm.
LeBron James haters are, oh, he complains, he bitches too much. But Tom Brady does it, Lionel Messi does it, Ronaldo
Every
does it.
coach.
They all do it. It's part of the game.
No, it's psychological. I mean, you'd be stupid not to do it. Why would you not do it? Would you rather have the coach, Jeff, that sits on the bench and doesn't make a peep all game, or you rather have the coach that's working the official all game long? So with 10 seconds to go, when there's a block charge foul, it goes your way because he worked it that way the entire game. Give me the guy that's going to get in the set because why wouldn't you do it? Especially if you're in Messi's position, Jeff. You wield a lot of power. I'm pretty sure behind the scenes, if Messi doesn't like you as an official in soccer, Jeff, what does he do? Pick up the phone one time, be like, I can't stand this referee. And all of a sudden, this dude's doing like, League Seven somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I would think. I mean, I think most of the time, refs get vilified. A lot of the time they'll move them out. They don't put them in World Cups, things like that. Lawrence Stockhausen, Chick-fil-A, come on. Yeah, look, Chick-fil-A is good. Probably the only fast food
Delicious.
worth it.
Delicious.
Very good. Donnie, QB's not happy with their draft picks. Why don't you let us know about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's and now look. I preface this by saying with all the right notions. And initially, when you look at these stories, right, just being like you make so much money, like Joe Flacco, not happy with the kid from Louisville coming in, Lamar Jackson. He has to help him out. He's not happy with that. How about the all-time feud of all times that still goes on to this day, regardless of what they say? Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers got brought in, look on the outset of it, it's now Big Ben mad that they drafted third-round pick Mason Rudolph, and instead of Big Ben doing his normal like, You better show me some love on Twitter and around the streets, or I will threaten to retire. Now they draft a third-round draft pick, Mason Rudolph, to come in and say he's our future. Now, all of a sudden, Big Ben said he wants to play 2 to 3 years just to spite Mason Rudolph and keep him off the bench, which is a great move by the Steelers. If that's actually what they had to do to motivate Big Ben to stay around, it's pretty genius to spend a third-round pick and actually do that. But on the outset of it, you look and say, why don't they just get over it? Well, listen to this. Like everybody, I'm assuming everybody out there in the chat box, like us, has a job out there. And if you get to your job and they say, hey, you know what, Tony, this is Dave. I want you to get him real good with the system that you worked out here in the office, because within a year, we're going to go to him and you're going to be out the door. Have a great year, man. Really enjoy yourself in here. It's human emotion. When somebody's drafted or hired to take your spot, aren't you going all sabotage mode for the most part?
Yes. I think most people would, sure. And this was a good idea by the Pittsburgh Steelers to bring Mason Rudolph in. Give the guy a little competition. He'll up his game. Joe Flacco's trash. Joe Flacco's elite trash. Yeah, I mean, he's getting older. I mean, Joe Flacco had a couple good seasons, but yeah, I don't think he's ever turned into what we thought he would.
Yeah,
As far as
worst
Big
mistake
Ben,
that the Ravens ever made with Joe Flacco, Jeff, was getting rid of Torrey Smith. They had the best play in football. They would hand the ball off on 1st and 2nd down, be in 3rd and 9. Flacco would drop back and throw a punt down the left sideline to Torrey Smith. He would run into the DB, throw his hands up, and go down. It was the single best play in football. Since they took that away from Joe Flacco, the offense has been struggling out there, Jeff.
let's see what he does this year with more weapons. Willie Snead and others. So we'll see what he does this year.
Now, also,
Donnie,
Jeff, hold on. Before we're going to play a little Pictionary, right? If they were to build a statue of Joe Flacco in Baltimore, won the Super Bowl and stuff, do you know what the statue would look like or what the pose would be?
no, I don't.
All right, I'm going to sit back right here. Don't talk right now because it'll keep the camera on. It would be this. Why is that, Jeff? Why do you think that would be?
I don't know. I can't.
That's just
answer
pass
that, no.
interference mode. Yeah, that's 3rd and 9.
Okay.
I just threw a punt downfield. Give me the call. If you go and probably Google Joe Flacco, half his pictures would come up just like this, Jeff. Just like this.
Okay, I'll do that. Good to know. No, hey, look, that's every quarterback though. Every quarterback wants a flag when they can't complete a pass on 3rd and 9. NBA recap. Let's get into that. Obviously, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. We head into the NBA. All right. Settle down, Dewey G. I'm just saying. He's got more people. He's not dealing with Michael Campanero. He's got more players. Willie G doesn't think Willie Snead's Dewey G doesn't think Willie Snead. All right, I'm just naming people. All right, I got you. He doesn't like Willie Snead. All right. I guess his source is your fan. So, because your fantasy team didn't do well, Willie Snead isn't any good. All right.
Thanks, Willie
Good
Snead.
luck.
Willie Snead, Jeff Mack product out there. Just give you a little bit of background.
Right. I believe you went to.
Was it Ball State? I want to say Ball State.
I think you might be right. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right actually.
Yeah.
We move on. NBA. Extinction time for the Raptors and Sixers looking to get closed out. Question is, will either team have success and at least win one game? Listen, neither of these teams is going to move on. They're not coming back from 3-0. The Raptors are completely done. And Donnie, the Sixers, where do you even start? I mean, same old on Saturday. Just poor execution, constant turnovers, no real leader at the end of the game. You're shooting confetti off because you won a game, but you didn't win the game. Where do you start with these two?
Yeah, no, I actually had a lot of fun. It was maddening at the end. But again, it's one of those things where you try to temper your expectations, because if you looked at the Sixers coming into the season, what did you want them to do? Fight for a playoff spot. Well, they made it in their playoffs. What did you want them to do? Maybe win a round. They did win a round. And it's clear and evident what the Sixers need heading in. Now, Jeff, coming from a Sixer and a Sixer fan perspective, a lot of my buddies are diehard Sixer fans. They were beside themselves after the Saturday loss. But if you take that long scope picture here, what does that do when you see the Sixers now struggling to win games at the end of the game? It doesn't allow. Imagine, Jeff, if we came out, we beat the Celtics 3-0 and then went against LeBron, and maybe we even beat LeBron and then got eviscerated in the final by the Golden State Warriors, which probably would have happened, or the Houston Rockets. I doubt the Sixers or anybody coming out out of the East is going to do any damage against that team out in the West. But taking a look at that, Jeff, doesn't it now put the onus on the organization? Because if they would have got to the finals, what would they have said? You know what? We don't need any help. Let's just see if our young guys can improve again and we'll make a run at it. Now that you're seeing the warts show up at this time, you see you need to add one of those max players out there and not rest on your laurels. Just puts a little bit of fire on their ownership. And also, hey, Brett Brown's a great guy, Jeff. Gives great interviews. We all felt bad for the guy because they gave him no players to work with for about 5 years. Now you're seeing it show up in crunch time there. Brad Stevens, obviously the better coach than Brett Brown, but it's no shame. Brad Stevens outcoaches a lot of people, Jeff, but just the overall warts of the Sixers showing is actually a good thing, Jeff, for the future.
But Brett Brown has done the same things, over the course of the year. They're still blowing leads. There's still no execution late. And again, a lot of that has to do with the lack of a player to be that guy. I'm agreeing with you. I think it's good that they're losing. They'll be forced to go out and make changes. They will not win until they get a superstar here. It's just not going to happen. Ben Simmons, great ball handler, great distributor, good rebounder, great dunker, can get down the lane and put you on a poster. But he's not a guy to me that's I want late in the game. He can't shoot the basketball, not good from the line. Joel Embiid needs to get the ball and stay down in the perimeter. They need a guy to make something happen. You have to go out and make LeBron James happen. And I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of options for LeBron James. He's not going to the West Coast. If he does, maybe Houston, but I don't see it. I don't think he's going to go to the West Coast and basically, be on the same level that Kevin Durant was. I think he wants more from his end of his career. He's not going to stay in Cleveland. I think that's a foregone conclusion, unless maybe he wins the championship. Maybe he'll stay. Philly's got to be the most logical choice. We'll hope that it happens, but Simmons has been timid. Joel Embiid has been just kind of all over the place. It's been an awful series to not remember. Raptors, Donnie, I think they have some problems as well going forward. Might be time to dismantle that crew. Dwayne Casey, time to move on maybe. 7 years and you haven't won anything with those teams. What do you do with DeRozan and Lowry? That hasn't really worked. It's just both teams have major issues that they're going to have to deal with before they get next season.
No, you're right about that. And we talked about that a little bit, Jeff, even before the game started, where if they go down 0-3, or let's just say, the series is over for all, intents and purposes, you're looking at Toronto overall, Jeff, as a franchise. And again, the same thing we'll get a little bit deeper in today, but Toronto north of the border, a little bit harder to get superstars to go to Canada and move away, even dating all the way back to, what was it, like Damon Stoudemire back when the Toronto Raptors were just coming into as an organization. A lot of the younger NBA players saying, don't draft me to Vancouver or Toronto, were the two Canadian teams. I want to stay in the United States. That's always going to be a problem. But this was your year for Toronto. This was your year to show up. And even if you didn't win the championship, Jeff, was to be kings of the East, go to the finals, have that feel good. Now you're going to get knocked out of the playoffs early, and it's not getting any better because you see the horizon. Boston is only going to get better. The Sixers are only going to get better. Toronto's going to start to fade back into the middle of the pack, and they have a lot of high-priced veterans. Do you just come back in Toronto and say, let's just keep it all together, make another run at it? This was your year. You're not going to make another run in Toronto, so it's going to be interesting to see the way they pivot because we all know in the NBA, Jeff, unless you're down at the bottom of the treadmill coming in 13th or 14th place, whatever, in the conference where you can get a lottery pick, you're not going to get any better. And this was Toronto's year. They didn't get it done. It's going to be really interesting to see the next 10 years of Toronto basketball and how they shape themselves.
Jesse Daly, LeBron ain't going to Philly, yo. LOL. Stupidest comment on this show. Well, actually, it is one of the biggest and most heavily publicized landing spots for LeBron James. It's probably his only option at this point, Jesse. So if you want to elaborate on why that's the super.
Well, who's LeBron? Yeah, who's LeBron's boys? And he says LeBron isn't going to Philly, which again, this is all speculation at this point where he's going. We're just trying to connect some dots. But it says like he wants to play with his boys. Who are his boys? What, Kevin Love? He's going to stay with Kevin. He wants to play with Dwayne Wade again? Or he wants to play with Kendrick Perkins? He wants to bring Mike Miller out of retirement? What does his boys mean? Who are his boys? He doesn't want to play with Kyrie. That's apparent. So he's not his boy.
Talk about a stupid comment. Big man, you're as wrong as about LeBron. I know, Dan Kelly. I know you only think LeBron's going to LA because he's a house there, not because he can't sell his house or anything. Listen,
he's not. Again, it'll be fun. It'll be fun when they come up, Jeff. But I see your point in that. But look, LeBron is about winning titles. You can't go to the West because there's not even a formality that you can even get there. Whoever LeBron picks in the East, And then the best one, Jeff, is Fizdale goes to the Knicks. The Knicks are now in it for LeBron. LeBron's not going to that bum ass team up in New York City, man. Stop it. If he picks a decent team in the East, he continues to just roll into the finals. He's staying in the East. And the one reason why you say, well, then why won't he just stay in Cleveland? If he put it this way, Jeff, if he stays in Cleveland and their owner okays a $300+ million payroll, you guys better just name every single building after Dan Gilbert for the rest of eternity. You might as well rename it Cleveland to just like Gilbertville if he's going to spend over $300 million on a payroll.
I'll tell you what, if he goes to Houston, that will tarnish his legacy. He knows that. It just will. He can't be the Kevin Durant again. He just can't do it. Kevin Durant did it. He got ostracized for it. I just don't think LeBron's that kind of guy. I just don't. I mean, I know he did do it initially and went to Miami, but he was the one that started it. I don't think he'll do it again. He's not going to Houston. It'd be that you can't tell me now that wouldn't tarnish his legacy. Go to Houston. I mean, you literally going there.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but see, the thing with Houston is, you have a dominant guy like James Harden, where, I mean, he can, be a factor of anything there. You just figure LeBron would fit on a team with a different type of concept out there. And again, if you're looking at Houston, it's hard to say again, everybody needs LeBron James, he's the best player in the world. Whoever gets him is obviously going to have a leg up. But I just don't see, like Golden State right now, Jeff, they're not going anywhere. So why don't you sit on the East and let those teams knock heads? And then maybe they're a little bit, battered by the time you get to the finals where you cruise through everything on the East. I just don't see him going to the West. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Jesse Daly clearly knows all the facts here in all this, saying that LeBron would have to you'd have to trade half your team away anyway. What are you talking about? He's a free agent.
He's a free agent.
Clearly you don't know. Clearly you have no idea what you're talking about because you think they'd have to trade their team away to get him. I don't know what you're talking about there. Let's go through a couple of these. It was a good run, big man, but you're going home tonight. Listen, dude, I'm good with that. I want them to go home. I want them to make changes. I don't like this current team. I think they've been really poor, and I'm sad about it because I thought going into the series, yeah, they really look like the team that I think a lot of people thought they'd be a year or two ahead of time. And it sucks the way they've just laid down like this. The young guys in Philly are only going to get better. Add LeBron to the mix, and you have potential for championship. No, you have a championship if LeBron comes here. Philly is the only team you can go to without getting rammed and possibly win immediately. I don't think the Lakers are there yet. I don't think I agree with you there.
Why would you go to that would be wouldn't that be the worst case scenario, the Lakers for him? So now you're playing Golden State and Houston? At least if you're going to go to the West, join Golden State or Houston. You know what I mean? Why would you join the Lakers and get avalanche from the other opposite sides by two different teams? There's no way. I mean, hey, LeBron James is a worldwide brand at this point, right? One of the very rare superstars. It doesn't matter what city he's in, he's going to be a global dominant guy. Used to be back in the day, Jeff, Shaq had to get out of Orlando because it's Orlando and he wants to be in the movies in LA. LeBron could do whatever he wants from wherever he wants in the world.
Now, Jesse Daly might be the most hypocritical human being we've ever seen on this show. Okay, so he said all this stuff about LeBron. Now he says LeBron doesn't want to fit on an established squad. He needs to have his own squad. What the hell do you think Philly would be, dude? It'd be his own squad. You think Houston would be his squad? He's going into a ready-made environment there. Philadelphia would be his team. It just would. What are you talking about? What else do we got here? If LeBron goes to Philly, it's title or bust. Agreed.
Yeah, sure.
We'll see. Obviously, it's going to be fun to figure out where LeBron James will go. I think it's got to be Philly. I think that's the only logical spot for him. He's not going to New York. Not going to the Lakers. Houston.
The ideal position would be he stays in Cleveland, but I mean, he carries that team. It doesn't get that much help. But again, it has not. If Cleveland's payroll, Jeff, next year was going to be like $135 million and no luxury tax, he would stay in Cleveland. But I just don't understand the counterpoints here. If you're looking at LeBron, what does he always want to do, Jeff? Always improve the team. You better spend money. Well, he's going to spend a record amount, literally a dollar for dollar going over the luxury tax, and you don't make your team any better. This is, Jeff, a $300 million payroll, bringing back the exact same team next year, and they can't get any better. I don't think he stays there. I don't think it makes a dollar cents or cents for LeBron if he wants to win titles.
What makes you think LeBron James is leaving the Cavs? Question mark. Um, Not happy with Dan Gilbert would probably be my
No, it has
first
nothing to
guess.
do. I don't even think it has anything to do with LeBron. I think it's Dan Gilbert just saying, "Look, I'm not losing. Like I have LeBron James. I sell at the arena every night, and I'm going to lose money hand over fist next year." Business guys usually don't make that, or at least they make that move, Jeff, saying, "You know what? I'm going boom or bust just to get a title." Well, he's spending like 150, 160 million on payroll, but now you're going to say, "LeBron, if I bring you back next year, we're not even the odds-on favorite, and I'm going to have the largest payroll in American sports history on my basketball team." I'm not doing it. I'm not. It's not. It just doesn't make business sense.
Yeah, now Donnie, there's an interesting article put out recently by Chris Sheridan. He worked for
Yeah.
NJ.com. This was also reported by Yahoo and other news outlets. According to many, Donald Trump or LeBron James and Dan Gilbert are at a rift due to Gilbert's support of Donald Trump. According to many, LeBron James obviously been very, very vocal about not liking Donald Trump. He did some of these different interviews and things like that. According to certain people, that's one of the big rifts between the two. Dan Gilbert's a big supporter. He donated a ton of money to Trump's, you know, campaign. Listen, I don't think this is big enough to strain a relationship. But according to certain people around that camp, it has become a big deal. You wouldn't think that would be that big a deal where you're going to leave a team over it. But again, LeBron can do what he wants to do. Um, Interesting article that was put out April 5th, Donnie, 2018.
Jeff, and also you want to play the aspect from the Sixers then, and we'll move on in just a second here. But we're the free thinkers now in Philadelphia, Jeff. We're through justice reform. We're free and Meek Mill. Look what we can do for you, LeBron, here in Philadelphia. You can come on and help even more of the young adolescents out in Philadelphia. You can move your foundation here. We're going to get all behind you here. How about that, Jeff?
Exactly. Jesse Daly, no, you're not a hypocrite because you disagree with me. And that's where people kind of jumble everything up on these chats. You're not a hypocrite because you don't agree with me. You're a hypocrite because your comments on these chats. You said you don't think LeBron's going to the Sixers and he's going to go to Houston, yet then you say he wants to go to a team that's not already established. Well, Houston's already established, dude. I mean, again, I'm just reading what you're saying. That's what you're saying. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. There's a lot. Dan Kelly doesn't agree with me. I'm not going to vilify the guy though. We don't agree with each other. I think he's going to go to Philly. He doesn't. He provides points though why. You're just saying I don't think he's going to Philly. I don't. You haven't given us any reason why he's not going to go to Philly yet. What you said is he's going to go to a team not already established. It could be his team. Philadelphia would be that. Again, Jesse, I think you're just here to ruffle feathers. But if you can provide us competent points, I'll read them. LeBron James will not decide to leave the land until the draft lottery. That's Nets pick, but if he leaves, he'll stay in the East and make another super team. Exactly. Good point. Fuck off, G. Good name. Um, I agree. He's going to Philly due to his relationship with Embiid and Simmons. I believe he has good relationships with
Yeah,
both.
same agent with Ben
Um,
Simmons. Yeah, work out together. Sure. Mhm.
Kind of pathetic if that's a serious reason why they can't get along. Yes, again, I'm just reading the rumor, and that was reported by someone that's been fairly good with LeBron James
Yeah,
and his.
I don't know much about that rumor because you couldn't have had a worse fracture in sports history between superstar and owner than the Dan Gilbert. Once LeBron James said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach," and Dan Gilbert wrote a letter and kept it on the team website that basically said, "This guy's the biggest loser in history, and we're going to win a title before he does." And LeBron goes down to South Beach and shits on Dan Gilbert, but still was able to come back. If they're able to mend that fence, Jeff, you can mend any fence.
Yeah, according Dan Gilbert was not happy with LeBron, called Trump a bum, and all different sorts of things. So we'll see. Who knows? We all know that relationship's not great. Let's move on to NBA tonight. We have two games, Donnie. We have two extinction games. Two teams ready to get the brooms out. What do we got on the lines?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it looks like same old story, right? Jeff Pinnacle opens up at 7. Chris opens up at 6. Intertop's currently sitting at 6.5, over under 204.5. Same thing, right, Jeff? Sixers a heavy favorite heading into the game. Will probably have a lead, should be able to close it out, but for some reason they just can't do it because they don't have a closer. But you're going to jump right back into bed with the Sixers again on an early start, Jeff. 6 p.m. As I said yesterday, the old heads in the Delaware Valley appreciate the Sixers at 6 p.m. We could be done by 9, maybe, head up to bed and get a good night's sleep after the win or the loss tonight, Jeff. But an interesting one. I don't have high hopes. The Sixers have played well in games 2 and 3 in stretches there, which they probably could have argued you should have won both of those games, but didn't. But they don't have any shot to win the actual overall series. So, if they win, oh well, they're going to go to Boston, get closed out. But we'll see at least one more basketball game here for the Sixers.
Yeah, this is a disgrace that this game's on at 6:05. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, dude, does fucking NBA not understand? People are busy at this time. They're coming home from work. They're getting their kids. They're having dinner. This is a ridiculous time slot. 6 o'clock. Come on, man. I mean, really.
It's, I mean, a six
Again,
o'clock time slot, Jeff, is reserved for the Raptors games. Wouldn't you agree?
well, listen. I don't care who it's reserved for. You're right. But again, I mean, put them on at the same. I know they'll never do it, but put it on at the same time. We decide what we want to watch. I mean, why not just do that? But I don't
Yeah,
know.
2-3-0 games tonight. That's. I don't think the NBA anticipated that. I think they were more hoping it was about 2-2 in both of these series, or 2-1 or whatever in these series. But both these teams getting eviscerated right now. We'll see how they pull it out. I'm sort of rooting for maybe a win of each team, like the Raptors get a W, maybe the Sixers get a W, just to extend it, because you feel kind of ashamed, Jeff, when another team goes down. Then there's not a lot more options the next night. It just keeps the card filled for us gamblers, right?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah.
As far as the game itself, I don't know. I mean, how do you bet the Sixers? I mean, I said that on Saturday. How do you bet the Sixers at lane 9? I mean, they can't win games, let alone cover 9 points.
What's
I had
funny
the
too, even
same
in
feeling here.
overtime, Jeff, I think that when the Sixers get up maybe 5 or 6 points in overtime, you're like, oh my God, it's going to be one of those awful collapses if you bet Boston, like getting 9.5 or whatever. But they were able to close that out. It's pretty easy to win games when the other team throws you the ball in the last minute for layups, though.
Exactly. I think the Sixers get swept. So I would take Boston on the money line plus 203. I, I think the Sixers are done. I think they're dead and buried. The whole, Brett Brown, we're going to give it. We're going to try to be the first team to ever do it. Donnie, I will say this though, and this is interesting. I heard this somewhere. I forget where it was, but you remember in 2010 when the Flyers beat Boston? They were up down 3-0. Remember
Yeah,
that?
sure, of course I do. Oh, yeah.
They completed that sweep on May 14th. If the Sixers can do it, they would complete the same sweep on March 14th. So
Yeah,
there you go.
what's interesting about that. I mean, again, being down in Game 7 on the road 3-0 and coming back to win 4-3, but you got to have a little bit of luck in those series. Like tonight, if you remember, watching the Flyers back then, I believe it was Game 3 or maybe even Game 4, where David Krejci, I think, got slashed across the wrist for Boston and was out for the rest of the series, and that really changed the face, taking a key ingredient out of the lineup. You never know. Hey, maybe Tatum goes to the rim, comes down bad on an ankle. We saw it before, Jeff. We saw Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah get hurt for the number 1 seeded Bulls over the 8th seeded Sixers, and the Sixers won that series. So you can never count anybody out till it's over, but everything, even up where nobody gets hurt in the series. Celtics going to win the series.
Greg Schneider. Happy birthday, Greg Schneider. It's his birthday today. And he wants
Yes,
to see the Raptors
celebrate
get
it.
swept.
Oh my goodness.
They may just get swept. So you might have your wish. As far as that game, I'm not laying points with the Cavs. Just not doing it. If I'm going to pick a game where the team will win, I would probably say it's this one. I would think. I'm going to take the
Yeah,
points here.
and all the games, outside of the one game in the Toronto series, they've been close. I mean, Toronto, you could argue, probably should have won the last game. And, LeBron hits the floater at the buzzer, game 1. If, Toronto just lays up a ball at the gun, they win that game. You can almost argue they should be up in the series. But we all know beggars can't be choosers. You are what you are, and it's a 3-0 series at this point. But, I know it's a closeout situation. Cleveland doesn't want to go back. But Toronto's still a good – Jeff, Toronto is the 1 seed and a good basketball team, getting 5.5. Look, I don't bet the NBA. You guys know I don't.
And
But if I'm betting this game, I'll just take the 5.5.
and look, I mean, you look at even in Game 5, Donnie. I mean, or Game 3, whatever it was. Cavs stood in cover. They won the game, but again, didn't cover. They don't cover as a favorite. They're 20-46 in that, or 20-48 in that, as a favorite this year. Just not doing it. Not laying points with them. If you want to, go ahead. I'm not. I will say this, Donnie. If either of these teams come back and win these series, I will never do this show again. Putting that out
Oh,
there. I will
goodness.
never do this show again. I will
Oh,
not do it. Or SBR could come up with a way where I will get whatever. I'll do
You would be
something. I
you
will.
would be relished to midnights, Jeff. You would have to do your show at midnight all by yourself.
That would be fine. Whatever they want to come up with. Um, Listen, Jesse. If you're gonna put out hypocrisy, make sure you spell it right. We know what hypocrisy is, Jesse. Again, we're just having conversations here. You're taking this too seriously, bro. You came on and discussed. Donnie, was he not a bit hypocritical in his comment? I
Yes,
mean,
look. I have the gavel back here. I like to be the judge. I love arguments. I love well presented facts. So I went forward, back and forth on Twitter. Who's better, LeBron or Jordan? And if you gave me salient points back, I love it, and I'll give you points back, and we can have all fun in that. But you can't come into the conversation, of a gunfight with a pen at this point. You can't say the Sixers can't get LeBron because they'll have to trade away half their team, knowing LeBron's a free agent. The Sixers have unlimited cap space. When you start with that comment, we can't have a nice back and forth conversation because you already have a technical knockout in the first round at that point. Bring a good point in there. We have fun with it.
no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as you didn't spell hypocrisy right. You spelled it HIP. It's HYP. Cuz, come on, bro. Jesus Christ. You do know there's Google. You can type it in. Dan Kelly, you should make that bet both teams. I did. I said both teams. Sixers. If Sixers are trying to come back, that's definitely, yeah, of course.
It's going to be big, right? Jeff, going to be
Whoever's
big ratings now for these two games. People are going to be rooting against you big time. NBA likes that.
Yes, yes, exactly. Jesse, you were getting flamed. He's not getting flamed. He's just, I just don't understand his wording. I think I knew who Jesse Daly is, though. So we'll leave it
Hold
at
on.
that.
Jesse said,
But
see, the good part about this now is it saves all the comments out there. He says he never said that, Donnie. I thought the exact wording was he
yeah,
saying they would have to
exactly.
trade their whole team away.
Yeah, yeah, he did. And then he said something about, listen, Nine. Then he said something about his tone was not correct. How are you going to tell me that I can? How do I know your tone on here? You're typing. Your tone. So it looks, if I heard your voice, Jesse, I'd know what your tone was. I don't have your tone. How would I know your tone? But listen, Jesse's a good commenter. He comes on here, has some fun. All I'm saying is, just didn't. I don't really understand it. I think Gabe Kapler can fix Matt Harvey in 5 minutes. Get him a Phillies uniform. Uh-oh. No, I don't know about that. Donnie, would you want
Maybe.
Matt Harvey? He's better than Pavetta.
Yeah, why not? I would like Matt Harvey just to troll the Mets fans if he ever gets good again. It'd be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Right. MLB weekend recap. We'll go through this quickly here. Then we'll get to some MLB tonight. Yankees continue to roll, Donnie. Start
Yeah.
spreading the news. I'm leaving today. Yankees do it again. Gleyber Torres, big home run. How about that? Donnie, since Gleyber's come up, they've been murdering it. I love it. Domingo German was fantastic yesterday. And Donnie, all of a sudden, I got to ask, are the Yankees right now the best team in baseball? This could change in a week.
I mean, you want to say
You
hottest
gotta,
team? Yeah, hottest team. The one thing we're all
that's
waiting
what
on
I'm
though
saying.
for the Yankees, Jeff, is yes, no doubt they're the hottest team in baseball. But the one thing I think we're waiting on is that still see that look approach, Jeff, for the rest of the summer. Can the pitching hold up? Because I think the bullpen is going to formulate and get back to what they're supposed to do. Because again, the Yankees will make changes to the deadline if they need to shore up that bullpen even more. But I just think that front line starting pitching, you're getting great. Like I had the Yankees in the first 5 innings a couple times this week. They were unbelievable in the two games that I had. Even CC Sabathia in hot weather, Jeff, was very good against the Cleveland Indians the other night. So I'm just taking that wait and see approach where I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out on those guys. So you like Tanaka's arm, one of the ligaments gives out. CC just melts in the middle of the summer in a 90-degree game and just can't make it back. Sonny Gray is a little bit of a head case. You know what I mean? If they can get starting pitching like this for the rest of the season, they're going to make the playoffs and do some damage, man.
Rich Banks, Noah can have a conversation with a grown baby. Hey, Rich, thanks for joining the show every day. Appreciate it. By the way, when do you ever say anything that's can be made into a conversation? All you do is talk about other people. That's your life, talking about other people. But Rich, hey, thanks for listening every day. We appreciate it. When you want to come in and talk about sports, I'll gladly have a debate with you. I'll even bring you on the show, Rich. I've said that time and time again. We're ready to have you whenever you're ready to come on. Johnny, you would agree. Rich is welcome on the show anytime, right?
Everybody's welcome. Yes. Bring a
Anyone that
salient
wants,
point. We'll have fun. Yes.
exactly. If you have a salient point, like Donnie said, you're welcome to come on. We'd welcome you. We'll schedule you. We'll get you set up. You're welcome to come on and talk to me. but you won't.
We'll have
It's
Johan behind the scenes or Juan Ba, like you call you 10 minutes
right.
early, make sure your camera's good, make sure
So
you might even want to put on some makeup or something like that, a little bit of shade on the face so we get you in that proper light. I mean, we can make it happen at Sportsbook Review.
so as the great LeVar Ball says, stay in your fucking lane. Unless you want to come on and debate. Otherwise, stay in your lane. But hey, thanks for listening every day. It benefits me. Thank you. Um, Donnie, Phillies, they let one slip up.
Oh, yeah.
And can't say I'm surprised by it either. They let one slip up yesterday. The bullpen blew it. And they let a pretty good outing from Jake Arrieta go by the wayside.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, come on,
Tough
man. You got
loss.
Max Scherzer on the ropes. You're up 4-1 late. Just close the game out. Like, I mean, it's always that old adage, like, all right, give up a base hit, get it out. Give up a base hit, get it out. You can't do that properly, Phillies. What a train wreck to lose that game. And that's a nice momentum swing, getting out of town in Washington and beating Max Scherzer, interdivision rival. Loser Phillies in that situation right there. Hector Neris was awful, but Tommy Hunter comes in and gives up runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. But again, you have to preface this. I'm a Phillies fan. We're not going anywhere this year. Settle in. Let some of the young kids get in there and get all this together. When you go out next year and sign Bryce Harper or Machado, then you can sort of spring forward here. I'm not upset they lost that game. Growing pains, new manager. We'll see what happens at the end of the year. But again, Phillies aren't going anywhere. Just play clean baseball for me, fellas.
Madoff Mets are in turmoil. This got to make everyone happy,
Yeah.
though. If you're a
Mm.
hater of the Mets, they have
Yes.
absolutely soiled themselves over the last couple weeks. And to shout out my friend Frank Fleming, who says that the Mets are totally done. Donnie, where do the Mets go? I mean, they don't have a particularly good lineup as it is. Jacob DeGrom's going on the DL. What a mess up there in Metland.
Yeah, no, it's the same MO every year. We say that we hope that they're starting pitching. If you're betting on them, if you're a fan of the Mets, they can keep it going throughout the summer. But it's already biting you right now. Now you're just waiting on bad news on Syndergaard out there if he's going to have like elbow inflammation or something like that. But it's the same story every year. And yep, it's New York City. Like, and if you are a Mets fan, you should be livid that when the whole Madoff scandal went down, they didn't force the Mets ownership, the Wilpons, to sell the team. It's unbelievable that they let them hang around in Major League Baseball and take loans from Major League Baseball. Jeff, they have a team in New York City that you can print money with that is completely bankrupt and had to take a loan from Major League Baseball to meet its payroll, and they allowed that to go on. Can you imagine if they just sold to a billion-dollar conglomerate that would have unlimited funds like the Yankees do? It's a shame. If you are a Mets fan, you deserve better because you know what? At the trade deadline, Jeff, they ain't making any trades with anybody for money. They're probably going to sell the payroll again for another year in New York City. It's amazing that Madoff took the Mets down and Major League Baseball stood around and said, yeah, doesn't matter to us.
No, you're totally right. Don, I meant to say this. According to, I wrote this down. A caller called into the radio over the weekend and said that the Sixers don't have enough leadership and they need to bring in Carmelo Anthony. Any thoughts on that?
Well, who said that? Wait, what was this?
A caller called into radio and asked that.
I mean,
Uh,
he would fit. Melo would fit right in with them. The Sixers getting ducked out in the second round or not even making the playoffs. He would fit in very well the way it's going in this series.
Goose made it to work. Good, good, good. Glad to hear.
Nice. There you go. Got you
By the way,
there.
Donnie,
Drove the road.
I get pulled over Saturday night. I don't think I told you about that.
I
And
saw you
this
on
goes
Twitter
out to
right
all you.
there.
Yes, this goes out to all you people that want to pretend and you want to, want to put back a few and say, well, I can get home okay. Let this be a lesson to you. If you live in you're going into little towns and stuff, just remember, there's nothing better to do than pull you over. That officer was sick when he walked up to the car and said, "You been drinking tonight?" No. Okay, well then why are you hitting the yellow line? I don't know. I'm just tired. Where are you coming from, sir? I was at the store. My man was sick. Donnie, he was sick. So let that be a lesson. I was happy as ever knowing that I didn't have to worry. Okay, sir. Have a good night. Thank you. Um, for what? I'm just trying to get you to pull you over to see if you're drunk. I wasn't drunk there, Chief. So let that be a lesson, to all of you. Don't have one beer or two. Um, don't have any. Was I on live PD? No, I wasn't. I didn't agree to being on. I told them no. I didn't sign the waiver.
Hmm.
Didn't you bet the Mets
Should
to
be able
win
to
it
get
all?
promotion.
I think I did. I think I bet them when they were 11-1. But as many know, I have many futures. Some successful and some not. Uh, Also, Donnie, last night I was told that my Golden Knight ticket is fake. It's not really mine.
Mm,
It's
shocking. Yep,
actually.
I believe it.
Let's get into today's preview, Donnie. What do we have? Two games on the card. Not a big MLB card today.
No, not a big MLP card at all. You got the let's just see a couple that we picked out here. Let's get to the Major League Baseball card, and we'll go with New York Mets, Jeff, on our mind. And look at this. Conlon this is where it goes for the Mets now, Jeff. You had that superstar rotation. Now you're leaning on guys like Conlon to go up against Homer Bailey to steal one. And if you're Conlon of the Mets, Jeff, you're on the road. You're opening up at Intertops here at minus 106. Basically a pick 'em in this game. Over under at 9.5. One of the games I looked at yesterday for a total was that Marlins Reds game. But the fact that Straley didn't have any road starts yet on the season, I sort of backed off. Boy, was I wrong on that. That one cruised over. Two awful bullpens for both of them. But the Mets need to get underway. The Mets need to start hitting here. But again, you're not having any of your frontline rotation. You're just trying to, put that Band-Aid on your season right now. But you're in a pick 'em with the Reds on the road with Homer Bailey on the mound tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the time where the Mets get it figured out. I mean, I'm not saying get it figured out in total, but you got to find a way to win a couple games here. I mean, you can't go in here and lose one of three or get swept or something. You've lost six in a row in your own ballpark. Now you got a pretty decent situation against winless Homer Bailey, a guy that, is struggling in general. You got Condon making his debut. By the way, Donnie, he's the first Irish-born player in the major leagues since Joe Cleary in 1945. So Ireland will be well received in Cincinnati.
Mm.
PJ Conlon making his debut. Listen, I think anytime you can fade Bailey at this price, I would probably do it. This is a game though that's tough to back. It's an interesting scenario though. Two teams, one of which is really bad, one of which is getting really bad, kind of desperate at this point. They have to win here. This has to be the spot they win at, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, you would think that tonight would be the night in that. But again, I don't know much about the Conlon kid. I haven't capped the card yet. I just saw that name pop up on the radar. They're coming in, and we'll see what type of mindset the Mets have when they're going out there. They're going to travel. The one good thing, if you're taking the Reds or thinking about backing the Reds, Jeff, they did play yesterday in Cincinnati, so no travel day for them getting ready for this one. You think they would have a full go lineup in there, but probably looking more or less. Homer Bailey's on the mound at the 9.5 total. Always seems like in that ball yard out there at Great American Ballpark, the total seems to go over. Why? Because they normally have terrible starting pitching, Jeff, and then you compound it with a terrible bullpen. So not a good recipe for an under if you're an underbacker with the Reds.
Exactly. No, you're totally right. Listen, I think the Mets will win this game. I think they're pretty at this point desperate. This is the spot you got to go in here and try to win two or three or sweep the Reds. They're not a good baseball team. Um, this is where we'll learn. Are the Mets? I mean, if the Mets lose this series, they'll be under 500. I mean, they were 11-1 at one point. This is a big series for the Mets. They need to figure it out.
No, you're right. We'll go over one more game here. 9:51, 9:52. San Francisco coming to town. Just Shark Samardzija is going to be on the mound versus Zach Eflin. Looks like about a 50, almost 50-50 ticket split. 46% of the tickets coming in on Samardzija in this game. Over under 8.5 across the board, Jeff. Roughly another two good games here if you're looking line-wise here, because you're getting about a 50-50 pick 'em. Minus 102, minus 108 splits at Intertops here. Over under Intertops actually sporting an under 9 at minus 115. So you'll pay a little bit of juice for that. Good weather here tonight in Philadelphia. We'll see if the bats can match. It's always hard when you go down to Washington, Jeff. They're going to throw some really good pitchers at you. Scherzer yesterday, I believe, had like 15 or 16 strikeouts by the sixth inning. So he was dominant, and the Phillies lost that one. So we'll see if they can rid that hangover here, getting back to Philadelphia, Jeff, versus the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, Eflin pitching tonight only pitched one time this year. He did pitch pretty well in that game. But this Giant team playing well. I mean, they've won 7 of 8, but they're coming east now. After their trip to, after Atlanta, they win 3 there. And the Braves are starting to come back to earth a little bit. And now you head into Philadelphia, riding high. You're facing a team that is struggling in all areas right now. San Francisco's been very good against righties. I get the feeling Zach Eflin gets welcomed back to the major leagues basically with a thump. I don't have any reason to bet the Phillies right now. Another situation here where I'll probably just take the Giants on this whole fact that they're playing really well right now, facing a guy in Eflin who I don't like against a team that has major problems. This one's simple. I'll just go Giants.
Jeff, one more real quick here I want to look at, because this is one of those flag games we look at, and we'll see if something can come of it. 959, 960. Fulmer and Matt Moore. We all know how bad Matt Moore is, Jeff, but here we go again, right? Pinnacle 116, Chris 125. Intertop's now currently sitting at 108. You got Chris at 106. You got an even split 104, 106 at Bet Online. Line going in reverse. When I know a lot of people out there are going to want to back Detroit in this situation because of how bad Matt Moore is. Always fun to see how these ones play out, Jeff.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. The problem is two pretty bad teams here. I mean, Texas has been pretty poor, and so is Detroit. I mean, it's more pronounced generally, but yeah, I mean, generally no one wants to back Mac more. I agree with you. And look, Detroit um, you know, is hitting well though right now. That's hard to kind of get in front of. They've been hitting lefties really well. But Donnie, it's time to wrap it up. Unfortunately, we have a time limit here. That's just how it goes. Wish we could have 10 more minutes, but we gotta jump
No,
off. Everyone have a great day. We appreciate you joining us. Hope you enjoy the games tonight. Donnie and I will be on Twitter all day. Everyone have a great day. We'll be back Tuesday, 10 o'clock Eastern. Bye bye.